Next one is a hard one.
Zav, מה זה?
ביאור משנה ה'. Explanation of משנה ה'. משנה זו דנה בזב ובזבה. Our Mishnah is going to deal with a Zav and a Zava. מתי מותר לשחוט עליהם את הפסח? When are you allowed to slaughter on them the Pesach sacrifice? And before we even get to this, we need to get a crash course in Zav and Zava. להבנת המשנה יש להקדים כמה דברים. So in order to understand this, we need to understand a couple of things. Number one, הרואה ראיה אחת של זיווה. So if a male has a white emanation from his member, it has to be white. I think today, what it looks like, it probably looks like some STD. You know, you got like pus coming out of it. Like some kind of pus that comes, a white pus that comes out of the things, yeah? So it says, when a person sees a ziva, now what's the difference between a ziva and a keri? It looks almost the same. Being with a woman, you know, having zera, having seed come out, and this, it looks almost the same. So how would you know which one is which? Because one would come out only when you have enjoyment, and the other will come out constantly. It will just flow. You know, you find yourself all the time, things coming out of there. You know, like a woman with blood, you know, the man, yeah. And dino ela kebal keri. So it says, if you wake up one day, you see there's, you're licking white stuff. So if it's just one day, if it happens only for one day, yeah, and bal keri. What do you mean? Tameh ad ha'erev. Yeah, it means that you're going to be impure until the night. Yeah, go to the mikveh and everything is good. I think you can even go to the mikveh before the night. You saw the keri, you go to the mikveh, and by night falls, I think you're already good. I think, but we'll see the other one. Ra'ash tei ra'ayot shel ziva. What happens if he sees 2 days? On a Monday and then on a Tuesday? Twice. Beyom echad, either it happened in one day, or b'shtei yamim retzufim, or in 2 consecutive days. Hareu na'asa zav. Now he becomes a zav. What does it mean, a zav? Shetumato chamura. Now the impurity is severe. Not just go to the mikveh and you're good. כמפורש בפרשת מצורע. This is like explains in פרשת מצורע. So what does he need to do? He needs to count 7 days. Just like a woman. You know? Just a woman. ומונהו 7 ימים נקיים. He counts 7 clean days. He checks himself every day. וטובל ביום השביעי. And then he goes to the mikveh on the 7th day. And then he's allowed to eat kodashim, sacrifices, by the evening. ואוכל קודשים בערב. Sunset of the 7th, which is the 8th day. The 8th night, but it's the 8th day, yeah. ואוכל בקודשים לערב. So this is 2. If it is 2. So 2 and 3 are almost the same. There's just one difference, we'll see soon. אבל אם ראה 3 ראיות של זיווה ביום אחד, but if he saw 3 in one day, או בשניים או בשלושה ימים רצופים, or in 2 or 3 days consecutively, חמור דינו מהרואה 2 ראיות. It's even more severe from 2. שחייב הוא גם להביא קורבן ביום השמיני. So the difference between 2 and 3 is one difference. Sacrifice. 2, you don't bring a sacrifice. 3, you have to do the same thing as 2 and bring a sacrifice. ביום השמיני, in the 8th day. What do you have to bring? 2 תורים או 2 בני יונה. You need 2 doves. ואינו אוכל בו קודשים, and you're not allowed to eat in the קודשים, אלא לאחר שהביא קורבנו. You're only allowed to do it after you brought the sacrifice. So even though you're pure, you can't until you bring the sacrifice. שכל זמן שלא הביא קורבנו, הרי הוא נקרא מחוסר כפרה. So as long as he didn't bring a sacrifice, he is called without atonement. וכל מחוסר כפרה, and if a person without atonement, אף על פי שטהר מטומאתו וטבל והריב שמו, even though he went to the mikveh and the sun set, כל זמן שלא הביא קורבנו, אסור לו לאכול בקודשים. As long as he didn't bring a sacrifice, he's not allowed to eat sacrifices. Okay. That's a zav. Now we're going to deal with a zava. Zava is completely different. By the way, when we learn... We'll discuss it soon. Either we don't have or everybody is. It's actually complicated. the way it worked in the old time was completely different than the way it works now. I don't know, maybe it's the hormones that we give the people, but even in the time of the Rambam, it's already changed because the Rambam already commented on it. So the way it used to work in the old times is very strange. A woman would receive her period the first time, let's say she was 13, 14, 12, 11, whatever it was. If she used to receive it on the full moon, that's it. That's it. Every month she will receive it on the full moon. It was a given. Boom, 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 boom. But by the way, womanly cycle, if you notice, very interesting, don't go according to the moon.
Don't.
They do.
They do.
They do. They always go according to the moon. Now, today women move a lot. Yeah, but you can see that it's a moon phase. They go by the moon. Yeah, a woman who usually gets in the full moon, it's going to be always around the full moon. Unless other women, come into her being, and then it can shift. But by herself, it will go back always to around the full moon. She will always the moon affects the so okay. So the way it used to be by them, there was a nida and a zava. What does it mean, a nida? The first 7 days of what you're supposed to be cycle, yeah. If you received blood, you were not impure. It's during the right time. And you were not considered impure. So you're considered to be a nida. In those 7 days, it's a nida. It's different rules if you see blood in the 7 days or out of the 7 days. Then we have 11 days. It's 7 and 11. Maybe that's the store 7-Eleven come from, I don't know. Yeah, so 7, and so there's different rules for seeing blood on the 7 days and different rules for seeing blood on the 11 days afterwards for the cycle. So let's see. Shonat dina shel hazava medin hazav. The laws of the female having blood coming out of her is different than the guy. She'en tumata tluya berayot bilvad, because her impurity is not only going to be in what she sees, ela bayamim. She is dependent on the days. ואפילו ראתה הרבה פעמים ביום אחד, even if she saw 100 times in one day, נחשב הכל כראיה אחת. It's all considered to be one. ואין חלים עליה דיני טומאת זיווה, אלא כשראתה דם בלא עת נידתה. And she's only a zava, not in the 7 days. If it's in the 7 days, it's okay. It becomes the sickness when it's in the wrong time.
Right, because in the time it's okay.
Oh, don't get confused, because in that time, in the time of the Torah, it was completely different. You look at the halacha in the Torah, it says, Shomeret yom keneged yom. She keeps one day against a day. What does it mean? A woman used to get her period in the same day of the month, and not only in the same day, it used to be down to hours. It used to be in the same hour, to sound accurate, and it would be finished in like 2-3 hours. So, which means, and it will be finished. In other words, the next day she will be pure. Oh, very good. So what used to be, so what the woman used to do, she used to see for one day, listen to that, she used to see one day, she used to go to the mikveh after she is pure, and the next day, mutaret leba'ala. There was not like what we count. Today, we consider all women zava. Why? Because they move. They're not constant, so we don't know if it's in the time of the nida and the time of the zava. Today's laws are completely different. Even if it's a nida today, we consider every woman a zava. Yeah. So in the old times, a woman used to get one day. She used to, and that way, the next day she will be with her husband. 2 days, the next day will be with her husband. 3 days she will count 7. Yeah. If it's 3 days or more, she will count 7. But and then they would know, the woman would know 7 and 11, her first 7 and 11, because they used to get in the same day of the month. So she knows when she got, and that's it. Today there's no such thing. It moves around, there's whatever the thing. Okay. So if we're talking about lo b'shiv'at yemei nidata, we're not talking about the 7 days of a nida. כי אם בתוך 11 יום שבין סוף הנידה שעברה לתחילת הנידה הבאה. We're talking about the 11 days that in between the cycles. פירוש הדברים, which means שבתחילה כשרואה אישה דם בילדותה, it means when the woman sees blood the first time she sees blood, כל 7 הימים הראשונים היא נקראת נידה. All those 7 days she's called the נידה. בין שראתה רק יום ראשון, ובין שראתה כל 7 ימים. And as you can see it over there, they only used to usually receive 1 day. But it doesn't matter, 1 day or 7 days, that days is called days of נידה. ואם ביום השביעי פסקה מלראות, and if in the 7th day she doesn't see anymore, הרי מן התורה טובלת היא בליל שמיני וטהרה. So she goes to the mikveh in the 8th day. The moment she stops seeing, she goes to the mikveh, and that's it. ואם ראתה דם מיום השמיני והלאה, but now comes the problem. If it's after the cycle, the 7-day cycle, והלאה במשך 11 יום, the next 11 days, נקראים אותם הימים ימי זיווה. Those days are called זיווה. ולאחר 11 יום מתחילים שוב ימי נידה, וחוזר חלילה. And after 11 days, you get more, the נידה comes again. וזהו מה שקראו חכמים, 11 יום שבין נידה לנידה. This is the 11 days between נידה and נידה. שבהם חיים על האישה דיני זבה. So in other words, she can only become a zava on these 11 days. Yeah. וכך דינה בימים אלה. So we're talking about these days. These zava days. אם ראתה דם יום אחד בלבד, if she saw blood only 1 day, צריכה היא לשמור יום אחד בטהרה כנגד יום הטומאה. It's easy. 1 against 1. היינו שהיא טובלת למחרת היום הטמא, she goes to the mikveh the next day, ואם אינה רואה בו דם, and she doesn't see the next day blood, הרי היא טהורה לערב. Already she can eat sacrifices, she can be with her husband, the whole thing is good. מכאן נקראת שומרת יום כנגד יום. This is called keeping a day against a day. You're a day impure, you're going to be a day pure. ששומרת הוא יום אחד בטהרה כנגד יום הטומאה. She keeps 1 day against the 1 day. וכן אם ראתה בהם 2 ימים רצופים, and if it was 2 days, הרי היא שומרת יום השישי בטהרה. Then she keeps the 3rd day as she's pure, ואם טבלה ולא ראתה בו דם, and if she went to the mikveh and she didn't see on the 3rd day, by the way, they go to the mikveh during the day, not like today, at night. Okay. Yeah? ואם טבלה ולא ראתה בו דם, and if she went to the mikveh and she didn't see blood on the 3rd day, תורה היא בערב. There's no 7 days, like... Yeah. אבל אם ראתה בהם 3 ימים רצופים, when does the 7th day comes? Only if she sees 3 days consecutively. And today, all women sees at least 3 days consecutively. That's why we consider all women Zava. And actually, there shouldn't be a Zava, there should be a Nida. But because it marches today back and forth, we don't know when it is, the 11 days. Yeah. הרי היא נעשית זבה גמורה, she's considered a complete זבה, וצריכה לספור 7 ימים, and she needs to count 7 days, וטובלת ביום השביעי מביאה כפרתה בשמיני. And she goes to the mikveh on the 8th day, and she brings her atonement on the 8th day.
בית המקדש, today הם היו צריכות לעבור ימים.
גם אנחנו.
לא, אני אין לי דבר כזה.
כן, למי שיש.
בחיים לא שמעתי דבר כזה, אבל אישה... כל חודש הייתה צריכה ללכת להביא קורבנות.
Yeah,
הזמן השתנה, הוא לא יודע מה זה.
She didn't, by the way. Practically, they didn't. You know that.
In the older time, you said it was 1 day.
Yeah, no. Even if it happened as Zava, she didn't. The reason why she didn't is only if she wants to eat sacrifices.
Oh.
She cannot eat sacrifice without it. Yeah. So if she lives in Be'er Sheva, she wouldn't come every month to do it. But she will come to the regel. Yeah, then she will do it. Yeah. ואחר כך אוכלת בקדשים. And only then she's allowed to eat the sacrifice. אלו הם הפרטים הדרושים להבנת משנתנו ושאר פרטי דינים ומקומם. So this is just an introduction to understand what's going on over here. Okay. Now we're going to go back. How does that relate to our Mishnah? כל שאינו ראוי לאכול בקדשים ב-14 בניסן. The rule is, if you can't eat the sacrifice on the 14th of Nisan, אם יהיה ראוי לאכול בלילה, but you are going to be able to eat it at night. So the question is, can I count you for the Pesach sacrifice? Now you're impure. But at night you're going to be pure. So can I count you as one of the guys for the Pesach sacrifice? That's the question. שוחטים עליו את הפסח. So we learned you're allowed to count these guys at the Pesach. לפיכך, therefore, מי שאינו טמא אלא עד הערב, so therefore, if you're going to be impure only until night, או מישהו טמא טומאת שבעה, or somebody who's impure for 7 days, but this is going to be his 7th day, ואינו מחוסרי כפרה, but it has to be important that if you need to bring a sacrifice, we can count you. Because you bring the sacrifice, only then we can count you.
And you can bring the sacrifice.
Maybe you can, we'll see.
Because it's night already.
Maybe we can, we'll see what happens. Yeah? שאינו חייב להביא קורבן, but he doesn't have to bring a sacrifice. ויום השביעי שלו חל ב-14 בניסן, and his 7th day happened to be on the 14th of Nisan, וכן מישהו מחוסרי כפרה, and somebody who doesn't need to bring a sacrifice, ויום השמיני שלו חל ב-14, and the 8th day happens to be on the 14th, אף על פי שלא הביא קורבנותיו, even though he didn't bring sacrifices yet, because it's the 8th day already, not the 7th, it's not at night, this is 8th, עדיין שוחטים עליו את הפסח, you can still bring the Pesach sacrifice for him. Why? ברם יוצא מן הכלל הוא, but this what is out of this system, טמא מת, somebody who's impure to a dead person, שחל יום השביעי שלו להיות ב-14, that the 7th day of his impurity is going to be happens on the 14th of Nisan. אף על פי שהוזע עליו וטבל, even though we sprinkled the water on him, and he went to the mikveh, he only needs to wait until night, right? And he doesn't need to bring a sacrifice. There's no sacrifice on him. הרי הוא ראוי לאכול קדושים לערב. He's going to be able to eat any sacrifice in the evening, he's allowed to. So what's the problem? מכל מקום אין שוחטים עליו. Nevertheless, on טמא מת, you don't slaughter on him. Again, why? That's our argument with it. גזירת הכתוב. Don't come to conclude. Don't jump to conclusion because it's related. והוא נדחה לפסח שני שנאמר, because it says the impurity, ויהיו אנשים אשר היו טמאים לנפש אדם. It says because if a person is impure to a soul, because of a dead person, לא יכלו לעשות את הפסח ביום ההוא. There's a specific verse that it takes them out logically from this. It says that you can go out. ולמדו מפי השמוע, and they learned ששביעי שלהם היה, and we learned it that, you know, where this verse happened to be on the 7th day. It happened to be on the 7th day that they were asking the question. What are we going to do? ועל זה שאלו, and this is what they ask. אם ישחט עליהם הפסח והם יאכלו בערב, it has to do with פסח שני, that's coming up now. הוא פירש להם שאין שוחטים עליהם, and God told them, no, you cannot join this Pesach sacrifice, you'll join the next one. והם נידחים לפסח שני. Okay, so let's see inside. זב שראה שתי ראיות. זב, ראיות.
כאילו ראה פעמיים, אני גם חשבתי ראיות, לא הבנתי.
זב שראה שתי ראיות. זב that saw twice. של זיווה ביום אחד, either twice in one day, או בשני ימים רצופים, or 2 days consecutively. שטמא הוא 7 ימים, that now he becomes impure for 7 days, ואינו חייב קורבן, and he's not obligated to bring a sacrifice, שוחטים עליו את קורבן הפסח. You're allowed to sacrifice on him the Pesach sacrifice. בשביעי, only in the 7th day, because on the 8th he's already got to be good. אם הוא חל להיות בערב פסח, ואף על פי שלא הריב שמשון, even though, he says, what do you mean? He's not completely pure, because the sunset didn't come, how can you count him? בגמרא, in the Gemara it explains, שאין ששוחטים עליו אלא לאחר שטבל. It says you only allowed to sacrifice on him after he went to the mikveh. So he has to go to mikveh in the morning, and only then you're allowed to sacrifice on him. Because if he's still impure, I don't know if he's going to go to the mikveh.
אבל הוא צריך ללכת למקווה בערב.
No. The only time there's not going to the mikveh is at night. The only mikveh is only in the day. The only reason that women go out at night, we learn some other time. Only women go. No. You go to the mikveh always in the day, but you have to wait until evening. No, you can go in the morning. You go to the mikveh in 7 o'clock in the morning, right? After sunset, after sunrise, and you're considered to be pure. You're 100% pure, but the time is a problem. You have to wait until sunset. You don't need, that's it. You're pure. The sun. Just wait for the sun. The time to pass. That's right. So they actually went to the mikveh in the morning. So
he wait until Ben Arbaim before the time pass. He can eat.
That's right.
So it's okay.
Not בין הארבעים, after sunset.
כן, ששוחטים, אבל שוחטים את הקורבן.
No, yeah, so he's pure already.
כן.
He had to be in the mikveh, because if he wasn't in the mikveh, you cannot shecht on him. בגמרא מבואר שאין שוחטים אלא לאחר שטבל, ואינו מחוסר אלא הערב שמש. The only thing he's missing is the time. We just wait for the time to pass. גזירה says, why do we do it? Not because we actually need to. We can count him without the fact that he's able to go to the mikveh, it's already enough. We could check on it. But we don't do it. Why? Because maybe the guy's lazy, he's not going to go to the mikveh. He's going to decide, I'm not going to the mikveh, whatever the reason is. So that's why we say, no, first you go to the mikveh, then we check on you. גזירה שמא יפשע ולא יטבול. ראה 3 ראיות של זיווה. This is what happens if he sees 3 times. שאינו ראוי לאכול מקורבן הפסח אלא לאחר שאביא קורבן כפרתו. Now we have the problem. What's the problem? Now he doesn't only need to wait until sunset, right? He also needs to bring a sacrifice. So it's 2 things. He needs to wait until sunset, and he needs to bring a sacrifice. Yeah, but the sacrifice he could still bring on the 14th. Yeah, but he needs to bring it.
The sacrifice on the 14th.
Yeah, he can still bring it.
Before you shech the...
Maybe before or after, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But he cannot eat the kodashim until he brings the sacrifice. That's the point. Yeah. So it says, and we said before, we don't shecht on him. It says, you do shecht on him, you can still shecht on him. שוחטים עליו את הפסח בשמיני שלו. In the 8th day, not in the 7th day, in the 8th day. אם אוכל להיות בערב פסח, if the 8th day happened to be on ערב פסח, אף על פי שלא הביא עדיין קורבן כפרתו. Even though he didn't bring the sacrifice yet. So he says, what do you mean? The Pesach sacrifice, that's what eliminates him. I mean, he's bringing the sacrifice, eliminates him. How can you do it? Maybe he's not going to do it.
Because he's already tahor.
Yeah, but he's not tahor until it kicks in the he's not allowed to eat kodashim until it kicks in. So it says, how can you do it? Maybe ifsha, maybe he's not going to bring it.
No.
So what do you do? So בגמרא מבואר, in the Gemara says, שאין שוחטים עליו עד שימסור קורבנותיו לבית דין. It says, we don't trust you're going to do it. Give us pay, give us the zew, and we're going to make sure it gets shechted. Otherwise, we don't trust you that you're going to do it. So you only shecht and
you have to bring the korbanot to somebody to keep them.
That's right.
So you have them already.
That's right. You cannot say, I'm going to do it. שמא יפשע ולא יקריבם. Maybe he's going to be criminally and he's not going to bring them. That up to here is the Zav. What about the Zava? שומרת יום כנגד יום. Somebody that saw one day and now she needs to keep one day. She goes to the mikveh in the morning, not like tonight, and now she needs to wait for sunset. Right? אישה רואה דם בתוך 11 יום שבין נידה לנידה. She sees between the 11 days between one nida and another, היא צריכה לשמור יום אחד בטהרה כנגד יום הטומאה. She needs to keep one day, and that's the 14th of Nisan. That's the one day that she keeps.
This I was thinking only the time that she get nida, not in the 11th day.
No, in the nida it's different rules.
But in the 11th day she's supposed to be tehora.
Yeah.
Suddenly she see blood.
That's the Zava.
The Zava.
That's right.
It's only one day.
1 against 1.
Oh.
If it's 2, if it's 2 or 3, then she needs to weigh 7.
But what?
One, yeah.
Okay.
כלומר שהיא טובלת למחרת יום טומאתה, she goes to the mikveh in the next day, which is the 14th, ואם אינה רואה בו דם, הרי היא טהורה לערב, and if she doesn't see blood, she's going to be pure at night. Then שוחטים לה את הפסח, you know she's going to be pure at night, sacrifice. בשני שלה, or so if she says one day, so she sees on the 13th the ziva. So on the 14th she could go to the mikveh in the morning, and if she doesn't see the entire day, she's good to eat the sacrifice at night. And if she sees,
and how they take chance on her? Maybe she will see.
That's right.
And then
that's right.
Oh, shechted korban Pesach on you. No, but I can't. I had.
That's right. She can eat it.
1 o'clock. I had some.
She can eat it. That's right.
So
then she won't be able to eat it. Yeah.
She won't be able.
She won't be able.
And this korban somebody else will eat.
That's right. So don't worry. The question is going to be, what about Pesach Sheni? Does she need to bring another sacrifice Pesach Sheni, or is she counted in this Pesach? We're going to see later on. Yeah.
Wow.
We'll have to figure it out. Okay. בשני שלה, היינו ביום שהיא שומרת אותו בטהרה, להשתווה של לאכול בקדשים. So if it's, she saw in the 11 in the 12, she saw Ziva in 11 and 12, 13 she didn't see, so 14 she's going to go in the mikveh in the morning, so 2 against 2, yeah? ראתה דם 2 ימים רצופים, והרי שומרת יום השלישי בטהרה, then she keeps the third day in purity, same thing exactly, שוחטים עליה את הפסח. בשלישי, you sacrifice the Pesach sacrifice on the third. ביום השלישי, לאחר שטבלה, היא מוכנה להיות בערב פסח. If it happened to be ערב פסח. והזבה, היינו שראתה 3 ימים רצופים בתוך 11 יום, שבין נידה לנידה. What happened if she was 3 days in a row? והרי היא צריכה לספור 7 ימים נקיים, then she needs to count 7 days, ולטבול ביום השביעי, and to go to the mikveh in the 7th day, להביא קרבן כפרתה ביום השמיני, to bring the sacrifice in the 8th day. So if 8th day happens to be on 14th, שוחטים עליה את הפסח בשמיני, you're also allowed to sacrifice the Pesach on her on 8th, שלא, אם אוכל להיות בערב פסח, if it's the 14th of Nisan, אף על פי שלא הביאה עדיין קרבן כפרתה. But as long as she gives it to the court, we don't trust her to say, yeah, I'll bring it. Give your sacrifice to the court, then we trust you, then we can sacrifice on you. Otherwise, we're not going to do it. Up to